Since Ghana first recorded cases of the novel coronavirus in March 2020, the number has risen steadily from 2 to over 7,000 over the last 2 months. Globally, there are nearly 6 million recorded cases with over 350,000 deaths and more than 2.3 million recoveries. Just like elsewhere, the economic impact of the novel coronavirus is also being felt in Ghana, especially in the aviation and tourism industry, and on the labor front. Some traders have also complained about their inability to import more goods to stock their shops due to restrictions on travel. It is no doubt that almost every sector has had its share of this ravaging virus, and the transport sector is no exception. In Ghana, the crowded public transport system took a hit in the country's quest to curb the transmission of the virus. While it was declared an essential service, the fears about the coronavirus, widespread work from home directives, cancellation of major events, and the 3-week partial lockdown resulted in a massive drop in patronage. For operators of Intercity Transport Company, VIP Joint Transport, they experienced one of their lowest seasons as passenger volumes dropped due to the coronavirus pandemic. From an average of over 30 trips, with over 10,000 passengers daily plying the Accra-Kumasi route, 10 trips with about 4,000 passengers are now hardly accomplished. Also, the VIP terminal, until now, has always been a busy place for travelers and hawkers who conduct bricks business. But since the outbreak of the virus and the subsequent measures put in place to curb its spread, passenger traffic has reduced. Low traffic means coaches take longer hours to be loaded to full capacity. General Manager of VIP Joint Transport, Ernest Frimpong Manso, spoke to Citi Business News.
VIP Joint Transport, before the lockdown, we were cutting 10,000 passengers in and out of Accra every day. During the lockdown, obviously, we weren't able to run the operations, so the fleet was grounded. And right after the lockdown, given the protocols that were adopted, the true configuration of seats, the type of coaches we were using, there was one that had 2x2 seating configuration, and the other was the 2x1 seating configuration. We suspended the use of the 2x2 and concentrated on the 2x1, given the physical and social distances that were adopted. During the period that the lockdown ensued, we had already paid for insurance. So you can imagine a fleet of about over 600 coaches having paid for insurance, comprehensive insurance. You can imagine the figures therein. And then we also had to pay the workers. You couldn't say that there was a lockdown and for that matter, they could go hungry. So other allied outgoing payments were also made. And then when the lockdown was lifted, we, as I said earlier, we only used the executive buses. So obviously, about 45% of our buses were the 2x2 seating configuration, and they were also not working. So our figures were still on the low side. So the 10,000 passengers in and out every day, after the lockdown, we are doing just about 40% of such figures, averagely 4,000 to 4,000 passengers in and out every day. So such is the challenge that we are facing.
His claims were echoed by Sumaila Mahama, a Trotro station manager in Accra.
Before lockdown, one tuni fine. She be an onyo okpa pour even though no do over you pour echosan. Ona ke fuel la ka cheap price no. She price je no ko ne kenachi. Ne wo me aje me 6. Me 6 is on here. Ne me 6 una aje emi. Ka o calculate each person 2 CD 20 pesos say. Ken ya me 6 13 CD 20 pesos each trip. Na aje me ni fuel e won. Akachi na chino she won hele 19 CD. Ona no ni e gba wona.
But the situation was different for drivers of ride-hailing apps. They made some gains, though there were fewer people moving around. Spokesperson for the Online Drivers Union of Ghana, Wise Togbo, spoke to Citi Business News.
Percentage, I would say, during the pandemic, because of the measure the government put in place, the lockdown reduced the patronage in our business. So automatically that will have an effect on finance aspect. How much we get on a daily basis will reduce. So let me say, before the pandemic, the business was good. Uber, Bolt, Yango were all doing a bit better. But during the pandemic, it was very hard because for the first week, you realize everybody was afraid. Everybody wanted to be home. People don't want to go out to be keen or whatever. So the pandemic was really reduced. Yeah. But after the pandemic too, it's picking up. It's picking up. We are grateful to the car owners who reduced the sales from 400 to some 250, even 300 for us to ease the pressure. So sometimes we say it's a bad day. Sometimes it's a good day. Because even during the pandemic, you could have a long distance trip where someone can take you from here to Kumasi because you're asked to take only one person. And because the fellow was also afraid to carry more than one, you'll be glad to go on long distance where the money will be a bit bigger. So both sides wasn't good, wasn't bad. It was an even break-even system, yeah. I realized it became very beneficial to some of us, where we took advantage of the few people on the market. Because, for example, there wasn't any church and school going on. But almost all the trotros were also not working. Even taxis were afraid. But our business, because of the nature of our business, it's a private car, you pick only one person, you have an air conditioning and all that. The patronage, with a few drivers on the road, we're getting more rides. Yes. Not as compared to the number of rides that would have come in a period of hours, but we got the rides we have to get. And the riders themselves were rational. They even pay more than the apps were requesting them to pay. So we can say the apps made a lot of money somehow as compared to the conventional taxi and trotro workers, yeah.
So you've heard from the business owners. Their businesses are not the same. Things have changed drastically because of the impact of the COVID-19. For Citi Business News, Nete Linete reporting.